You are listening to the People First podcast.
People First is a self-advocacy group run by people with learning disabilities, and People First podcast is a platform to raise awareness about real issues that affect people with learning disabilities in our community and all around the world.
We aim to inform and entertain our listeners by interviewing interesting guests and talking about the things that really matter to us. This is like having a stage to speak out and get our voices heard.
You're listening to the People First podcast, and we're live from the William Merritt Centre for the Accessibility event in Leeds. As you can hear, there's plenty of background noise, and we'll be talking to the event organiser and stall representatives and the events at Elland Road in Leeds.
The first stall that we looked at was the Accessibility Gaming stall run by the company called Special Effect. Tom and David tried the adapted controllers, and we spoke to Charlotte from the William Merritt Centre.
So my name's Charlotte and I am an OT technician at the William Merritt Centre. So part of my role is providing assessments for people who want to game in a different way to the traditional controller. So there's quite a few different configurations. In fact, the possibilities are endless, with depending on what your needs are and depending what sort of your preferences are. So Xbox are leading the way in adaptive technology, and you can buy them off the shelf. But there are gadgets that you can also use to use the Xbox technology with PlayStation and Nintendos as well. So this particular setup here is using the Xbox controller, and it is got large buttons on it, but it's also got a yellow Big Mac switch on the floor, which is the go pedal, and then it's got the Optimum joystick controller, which you can use for steering Crash Bandicoot. And yeah, you're looking like a natural actually. You're looking quite good at this. It's amazing how natural people are. They just take to it like a duck on water. I love the problem solving element and trying to find the right setup for people. Whether that's with 10 switches, whether that's with a joystick and 3 switches, whether that's with the Xbox controllers. Yeah, that's the part that I really, really like. Enabling other people to game. I have to say, yeah, you're looking very good.
I normally play with the traditional controller, so I think it'd just take time to useful, but I've just tried the other one to the side that I just mentioned previously, and it's brilliant for people with varying degrees of disability.
There's also a really cool feature as well where you can be a co-pilot, so 2 people can actually be one person in the game. So whether that's one person steering and then one person controlling stop-go. That's another interesting configuration. You should try this one as well on the end with the switches. So this one, it goes itself, but then these are just your controllers here to steer. So yeah, although this one's playing through a Nintendo, we've got this little Titan box, which then enables us to configure the Xbox controllers to then be compatible with the Nintendo. So it's a handy little gadget. You can also use it with PlayStation as well.
Yeah.
Next, we spoke to Mark from Special Effect.
My name's Mark. I work for the charity Special Effect. We help people with motor disabilities to play video games. All sorts of video games, all sorts of conditions. And all sorts of ages as well. So we're based in Oxfordshire, but what we do, we sort of do video calls, and our teams of occupational therapists go out and talk to the people who want our help. They find out what games they want to play, what abilities they have to play them, and then they mix and they match and they modify equipment, accessible gaming equipment, to try and find a setup that will work for them. Then they'll lend them that kit to see whether it works really well. And then over time, if things change, we can make adjustments. And so it's a lifelong service, and it's a free service as well. Basically the aim is just to sort of get the inclusivity of gaming out as far as possible.
Do any gaming companies donate to the charity?
Well, we work closely with gaming companies in terms of making their games more accessible when they ask us to. So a lot of the gaming companies do sort of help us out fundraising wise, because we don't charge for any of our work. A few of the gaming companies do help us out with fundraisers and things like that. So it's wonderful to see how things have progressed over the last few years.
Thank you for talking to us. Tom was intrigued by a stall that was advertising electric beds, so we asked for a quick demonstration.
The company's called TheraPosture. We are UK based all the way from, we've got 4 guys that do assessments only. It's all about the assessment before the sale, because we're dealing with people who with complex needs. We work through what their problems are and then we come up with a solution rather than just try and sell a bed. Like the bed you're looking at, it's called the Rotaflex. Basically it's a turning bed that gets you from a standard sit position, whether you're side transfer from a wheelchair or you can get to centre point, and what it will do is physically get you into bed. So with a press of one button, reduces the back, lifts the legs, gets you into a tilting space position so you get comfortable as I get further away. Strong side rail so you can hold on to if you do feel unsteady or unsure, and from that position still in a profile position and a tilting space position. Once you get round so you're actually in bed, you can raise the head, you can lower the head, you can lower the legs, but this particular bed has a raising heel section, so it keeps the legs nice and high. And for getting out of bed, again, just one button, legs drop, turns you out of bed and stands you up.
First time seen one of those before. Looks quite good.
We've been selling the bed now for about 21 years, but it does nothing more than gives you the independence to get in and out of bed on your own. It can look like a medical bed, or it can look like a divan bed, or a double combination bed, so you can have, and we go through all the training, so we show you how to put the bedding on, we show you how it works, we do a free demonstration in the home, so it's try before you buy.
Some enormous footballers caught our eye, and Tom recognised some of the guys on the stall, so we asked for them to tell us about Leeds powered chair football.
Yeah, hi, my name's Steve, and we're representing Leeds Power Chair Football, and basically it's a form of football for people with disabilities. We use a power chair wheelchair, which is adapted with bumpers, where we can hit large footballs, and we are teams made up of 4v4, and yeah, we train every twice a week, and yeah, it's just good fun, good laugh. We actually learn techniques which we apply at the end of the session in matches, and yeah.
Where do you train?
Seacroft Leeds Bishop Young Academy, which is a normal school, but we use their halls midweek and on Saturday.
How often do you play the matches against each other's teams?
It can vary. Once a month. We have different levels of teams. So for some higher teams, they could be playing matches more often compared to other lower teams in the club.
Is it a national sport?
Yes, there are, yes. In fact, we recently just got a player, a part of our club, who called up for the England national team. So we're very proud about that. Yeah, again, there's national setup, so we have Newcastle teams, West Brom, different they're in national teams. I'm not part of that side of it, but the higher up you go, the more teams are across the country.
Is there an international World Cup?
I believe so, yeah. I couldn't say off the top of my head, but yes, it's definitely been the Europeans, whereby I think England won it last 4 years, I think. Yes, definitely.
Where can we get some more information about what you do?
Sure, yes. So, as I said, we're called Leeds Power Chair Football Club, Leeds PFC, LPFC for short. We have a Facebook page and a website, and yes, 1 second, I can tell you that.
Right, Tom?
www.leedspowerchairfc.co.uk. And as for Facebook, you could just type in Leeds Power Chair Football Club. And also we have a Twitter, which is @LeedsPFC.
Thank you for talking to us today.
Yeah, no problem. Nice to speak to you.
A lot of our members was very keen to try the adapted driving vehicle. So we spoke to Nikki from the William Merritt Centre driving assessment team.
Hello Tom, my name's Nikki. You alright there? What would you like to know?
Right. So, what's this stall all about?
So we're here from the William Merritt Driving Assessment Team. So we're here to offer advice on what our assessment service entails. We offer driving assessments for people who have any sort of disability or medical condition which may impact on their ability to drive safely or conventionally. Yeah, we've got a fleet of adapted vehicles with a range of adaptations to facilitate driving for disabled drivers. And we also offer advice on fitness to drive, so we can assess fitness to drive and advise people either for or against driving. If they're unsafe to drive, we can advise them on alternatives to driving. Yeah, so we've got quite a few adapted vehicles here today. So we've got fairly basic adaptations in the grand scheme of things, which are more mechanical solutions for allowing people with limited use in the legs maybe to drive with their upper limbs. And we've got then more high-tech style adaptations that are electronically operated, which allow people with limited use in the arms as well as in the legs to be able to drive. Those adaptations require very little amounts of strength to be able to operate them. They're quite sensitive to operate, which you'll be able to go down there and have a look at and have a play with if you feel like you'd like to do that. So yeah, that's a bit more on the adaptations front, but yeah.
Sounds good to me.
David and Alex both had a go at adapted cars, and we are going to share some videos of them on our Facebook page. As we were all enjoying the event so much, we thought it would be appropriate to talk to the organiser of the event, David Blythe from the William Merritt Centre.
Hi David, please can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi Tom, I'm David Blythe, I'm the General Manager for the William Merritt Disabled Living Centre. We're here today at our Accessibility exhibition, which we've been holding annually, mainly before the pandemic of course, to actually demonstrate the equipment that you can buy. If you have a disability or you need to remain independently mobile, there is equipment out there that can assist. And we actually display this at the centre, and today we hope that you can come along and see what's available to help.
What is the accessibility event?
This event, Tom, this year is so that we can bring the specialists together, the suppliers, that to provide all disability equipment across the region, and they're coming together in one place so that both clinicians and people with long-term conditions can come and actually see what's available and try it as well. There's a lot of things here today, as you'll see going round, that are demonstrated, and you can actually try before you buy, in effect. Okay, so that's what today is all about, is to identify what's out there, how you can get hold of it, and what it'll do to benefit the people with disabilities.
How long does it take to plan an event like this?
Wow, that answer will vary possibly who you ask. We could be the best part of the year planning this, because we've got to negotiate with suppliers, we've got to have the team available to actually do it, you've got the graphics, and then obviously the advertising. We do start, at least 6 months beforehand, looking into who can actually come along. You'll probably notice from the Eventbrite we've used this time, that's a very useful tool that we can actually start monitoring how many people are getting interested in the event. But yeah, we'll probably, as we finish today, we'll probably start looking and planning the next one.
Can you give us some more information about some of the stalls that are here?
Yes, we've got a mixture of stalls. I mean, for example, one of them, Ross Care, is very much a specialist in wheelchairs and scooters. We then have other ones such as Giraffe, who do the specialist wheelchairs and off-road trikes, I would imagine you describe them as. We've also got some conference speakers here talking about holidays for people with disabilities and the accessibility of those.
What do you hope people take away from today?
A couple of things really, Tom. We hope that people will be more aware of the William Merritt Centre and where they can get assistance to help with daily living. And obviously we want to, if you like, raise that awareness, increase our networking, if you like, because we will never do this on our own. We hope that the network that we develop and the partnerships we develop all develop better from today.
Is there going to be more events like this in the future?
I'd like to think so. I'm hoping we can continue to do this on an annual basis. We also have smaller versions of these as open days at the centre. So we do have 1 or 2 stalls, and we invite clinicians as well to come along. And really that's to give information about our assessments and the availability of them as well. But yes, I think we would like to do this as an annual basis.
Can you tell us more about the William Merritt Centre and what you do?
Wow, yeah, the William Merritt Centre, well, as a little bit of a quick history, we started over 40 years ago now. We had our 40th anniversary last year. We were started by a member of the council who was called William Merritt, and that's where the name comes from. Sadly, he passed away as the centre opened 40 years ago. But the aim of the centre was to actually identify the equipment that is available for people to live more independently for longer in their own homes. That was the actual target, and we still do that today. Most of what we do is about keeping you active and mobile, be it for general everyday, going back or remaining in work, or even in leisure as well. And that's our aim, to make sure you can get the right equipment from the right place at the right price.
If any of our listeners want information or want to get involved, what should they do?
If they want to get involved, Tom, please give us a call. We can either be reached on our website, www.wmdlc.org, or give us a call on Leeds 0113 350 8989 and talk to, well, in fact, anyone who picks the phone, if you want to get involved even as a volunteer, talk to the receptionist and they will put you through to the right person.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Lovely to meet you. Hope you've had a good day today.
We were all really impressed by Accessibility event, and it was reassuring to see so many people and campaigners working hard to improve inclusivity and accessibility for those in need. Well done to the William Merritt Centre for all the organisation, and what a great event. The Accessibility Game Store at the Accessibility event was very popular. We wanted to learn more about the company that ran the store, Special Effects, so we invited them to an interview over Zoom. For this episode of the podcast, we got the chance to talk to Jacob from Special Effects about what he does.
Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us what Special Effect does?
Sure. So Special Effect is called a video game charity. So help people who have physical disabilities to help them to play video games. And so we use specialized equipment. We can use joysticks, switches, specialized controllers to help those who can't physically access a standard gamepad or mouse and keyboard to play video games. So every single setup that we do is completely tailored to the individual based on their functional movements and the games that they want to play. So our services are completely free. We assess someone and we try and gauge what equipment might work well with them after a little discussion with them. And then we would then post out the equipment to them for them to give them a little go with and see how they're getting on with it, and just tweak anything we need to, or provide advice on how to make it more accessible. And it's a lifelong service that we offer. So it's not just a one-off call we have with someone. It's throughout their entire sort of gaming careers, because conditions that they may have might be progressive. So that means they might have decreased amount of movement further down the line, or they just might want to play more complicated games that require more buttons and joysticks, and so we can kind of work towards that. So I would say that's Special Effect in a nutshell.
What do you do at Special Effects?
So my job role is an occupational therapist. So it's my role to actually help these players with disabilities to access video games. So before the pandemic, we were doing face-to-face visits, but since then we've been doing video calls throughout the last 2 years ever since. And so what my role is we have a discussion with someone, discuss where they have the best of movements, so we can figure out maybe where we can position a switch or a joystick. We ask them what games they want to play, what consoles they want to play, and also sometimes advise them on some settings within the games that could help them to access the games a lot easier. So a lot of our job as well is having to research quite a few video games to make sure we know the control schemes for each game and some of the settings that people might find useful to help them play better. And so, yeah, it's just a case of just figuring out the equipment that's best for them and making sure that they can play the game to the best of their functional ability.
Are you a big fan of gaming?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would be here if I wasn't. I think in terms of all the other occupational therapists that work here, we've all got some gaming experience, which I think has helped. I mean, I've been a gamer since my dad introduced me to the PlayStation 1 almost 25 years ago. So I've been a PlayStation fan through and through. I've had all the PlayStation consoles, and I devote a lot of my time to gaming. I enjoy games ranging from Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank, all the way up to Final Fantasy games and Dark Souls and Sekiro and Elden Ring and all those complicated games. So I like to think I have a nice variety of games, and I think that's what helps the job as well, is that everyone else who is a gamer on a Special Effect, we can then put our knowledge together, because we're going to have expertise in certain areas of different games, and so it's always good that we always have, we're always bouncing ideas off each other, talking about each other about different games and different settings and their control schemes. But yeah, I would absolutely say that I'm a massive gamer.
Are some types of games more suitable for adaptation than others?
So yeah, there are some games that have a lot of what we call like accessibility settings within the games. So one of our most asked games to play is FIFA. So ever since FIFA, I think it's FIFA 19, they've introduced a very cool control scheme called a 2-button mode. So normally when you're playing FIFA, you need to use the entire controller, you need to use both the joysticks and all the other buttons fairly well. However, they've got this really cool setting which reduces the amount of buttons you need to just 2, and also just using a single joystick. And so the players will know exactly, when to sort of tackle, when to shoot, when to pass, based on the button inputs and where they are on the field. So that's one of the most popular ones. And another really accessible game that we like to look at is Forza. So there's a Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport on the Xbox and PC. They've got a lot of driving assists so to make the driving a lot easier. So you can just play like Forza Horizon 5 and Motorsport 7 just by using a single button being held down to accelerate, because once you put on all the driving assists, then the car will auto brake by itself, it'll steer and stay on the track by itself. It's something that we tend to use an awful lot, and it just means that people who can't use a standard gamepad or even like a joystick but have access to a single switch, it just opens up this world of gaming to them. So yeah, there's some of definitely the best examples that we use in our line of work.
Can you tell us about Game Blast?
Yeah, so Game Blast is one of our yearly events that we do every February. So what we do is that we ask anyone and everyone to participate in Game Blast, which is you do some fundraising for us, and it has to be gaming related. So I actually did Game Blast last year, where I did a 12-hour gaming stream from 12 till midnight, and I ended up playing Jack and Daxter. What was the other one? I played Outlast and Maneater, where you play as a giant shark just to finish off the night. And then a lot of people were just doing their own kind of streams. They would go to Twitch with the hashtag Game Blast, and it's not just that. They've gone up to like cake sales or anything that sort of is game related. And so we tend to do that every single year, and it's certainly one of our big fundraising events, because Special Effect is 100% reliant on donations, and so we heavily rely on just the average person to help us keep us afloat, and it's always events like Game Blast that keep us going.
How is a Special Effect funded?
Yeah, so as I said, we have many events taking place throughout the year. So Game Blast is one of them. We also have a lot of the running events, so like the London Marathon, the Oxford Half Marathon, and people often do a lot of running for us for that. One of our other events is called One Special Day, where we ask developers and games companies to donate their revenue for that day towards Special Effect. And so, yeah, because Special Effect is 100% reliant on donations, these events are so important, because, as you may understand, some of the kit that we work with can be quite expensive, and even a small amount of money could go a long way for someone, even if it's just something like a small accessibility switch or a joystick, or even a controller that's been physically lightened, so someone who has reduced strength in their fingers can be able to use these kind of really sensitive joystick switches and controllers. So yeah, it's a little can go a long way for a lot of the people that we work with.
How can someone apply to see if they qualify for your service?
You can take a look at our website, and you can look at specialeffect.org.uk, and there is a contact us page, so feel free to fill in the form. We've also got a FAQ as well, so it's for people who have a physical disability that we have as our main criteria. But it's always worth just getting in touch via our form, and then we can get in touch with you. Just and we can let you know.
Thank you for talking to us for today.
Been a pleasure.
You too.
Thank you, Jacob, for talking to us. And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. Also, please like and share and review. Take care. Bye bye.